guys?
All of a sudden, the energy is going right into Aaron because anytime the camera's on him.
Live?
Yeah. I'm going through. I'm just highlighting some comments. So want to hear from you guys. Throw as many comments in as you want because, we're going to be. Oh, where are you guys? We got people from Texas, Australia. Look at that.
He's in his room.
Oh my God! Here, the Gentleman's Gazette. Look at that.
that is sweet, Raphael. I love it.
Speaking of cardigan, right on cue with one of the questions.
Yeah, it's not a cardigan actually. It's like a jacket. You know?
Oh yeah.
What's up, Jeff?
Jeff's got a nice setup. I think, Jeff, you win the backdrop setup because you've got just this nice red with the chair. Raphael, you definitely have the whole, hey, don't forget, I'm Fort Belvedere. And then Eric's got the whole bokeh. And then Aaron, me and you are just like,
whatever.
Although I do have the best
moose in the background.
Aaron Marino, very good.
What? I'm going to go with the moose in the background. Better.
All right. Well, hey, I doubt this is the case, but in case anybody doesn't know who any of these guys are, we got the amazing Jeff over at the StyleOG, and Jeff Morgan's been just killing it with his channel. How long have you been doing this, Jeff? Like 4 years now?
I started, first video went up March 2017, so 3.5 years.
Man, yeah. And just having a good time, came in, and I remember the funny thing is like I didn't know what OG was when I saw it. I was like, what is OG? Like I'm just that bad, I know. But and then but nothing beats I think Eric's first video that I saw of him because he was on. I remember seeing this guy, and he's like this far up in the screen. He's like, hey YouTube, what's up? And then he's going on about all this libertarian stuff, and I'm like, I like this guy. And he's talking about beards, and you were in Spokane at the time or something.
Yeah, man, I got this like fancy lens, and I really had to use it out, but it was like a 75 millimeter, which means the camera had to be like 20 feet away from me.
Yeah. And
then like I thought I had it pointed in the right direction, but after I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, it's just my head. I'm like, well, no one's gonna watch this video.
And then there's Mr. Raphael Schneider, who I met in a truck stop. Isn't that the story, Aaron? You loved it.
That is the story that I love.
American story right there.
Yeah. I didn't realize apparently there's a whole like group of people that meet up.
Knock on the little door stall and stuff like that.
Yes. So as soon as I told Aaron that I met Raphael and we hung out at a truck stop wearing his ascot, Aaron's like telling all like him and his, I think it was your dad or no, your people at one of your companies at Pete and Pedro. They're like, oh yeah, Antonio meeting Raphael at truck stops.
Exactly. The Jersey Turnpike is notorious for lots of trucker sex.
Is that what they did there?
So this is how the video starts. If you're watching this video, this is not going to be up forever because we are going to. We're gonna have a little bit too much fun in this video.
Wake up and talk about trucker sex.
Exactly.
I'm a results guy, so if you got the sex, I don't care how you got there. I'm a results guy. Doesn't matter to me.
Forever, man.
I think Antonio was just afraid, to have someone else at his house. So it was like, well, in this town, there's really nothing else to do. So the only thing we can meet at is a truck stop.
Hey, I did invite you to my house next time, because you would always stop by. It's like we have this German mecca of bacon in our town called Newski's. And he's like, every time I see Raphael now, I got to bring him like lots of frozen.
It's very
bacon.
good. Yep, it's excellent bacon. And the first experience was so good. Then we upgraded to the house. So.
Well, really quick, guys.
To my house either.
So we're getting, we got to be careful with what we say. I'm throwing in comments and just having fun, so you guys should be able to see it. Feel free if you want to answer. Yo, Alpha, shout out. We've got lots of people. What's up with the OG? What is the habit that you all have in common? I think that we can actually, I don't know, what is that?
We work hard. We work really hard.
Yeah, we all breathe.
Yep. What so wisdom from Alpha? What do you got? What's the habit?
Yeah, I think we all are not afraid of trying things. I mean, that's one thing that I think all five of us kind of represent, is that we're willing to kind of throw it out there, and we do, like Eric said, we all work incredibly hard. Whatever that means to us. I mean, we're not afraid to roll up our sleeves and just jump in. What do you think, Jeff?
Jeff's going to be.
I say that anyone who has any success, you probably had, out of your 2 successes, you probably had 8 failures to go with it. So one of the things I try to encourage guys to have, and I'm sure all 4 of you guys have, I'm not afraid to fail. I expect to fail. And if you show me a guy who's only had successes, he's probably not a true success. He's probably a flash in the pan. I've been a serial entrepreneur since my 20s, and let's say I started 15 businesses. 13 of them didn't work, but that's okay. The 2 that did worked phenomenally well, but I had to have those 13 failures. So along with, and all the guys you see on the screen, we put out a lot of content. We work very hard. There's going to be guys taller than you, better looking than you, smarter than you, but don't let them outwork you. I'll never let anybody outwork me. So that I think all of us have that in common.
Yeah, resilience.
There was a question that popped up, like, how do you do sponsorships with integrity? And so that gives me a chance to highlight the sponsor of today's video. 50% off at, hey, guys, this is only for 12 hours. Because here's the deal, is Robert is an Army guy. He reached out to me and he said, Antonio, I got this great underwear. Basically, it's a package for your package. And I'm like, I got to see this. And he had this great story. But I mean, I gave him basically I worked with Robert next to free because I loved his product. And to this day, I still love his product. That's why I promote him. And I'm like, he was only going to give me 25% off. I'm like, Robert, give him a better deal. So that's one of the reasons I can't keep this video up forever, because this deal's only good for today. So guys, if you want 50% off, go try Sheath underwear. This is the best deal you're going to see out there. But I know.
Let me talk a little bit about Sheath. Something else, a unintended byproduct. So for those of you who don't know the story, Robert was a soldier. He was over in the Middle East, right? And he's walking around the desert, and he's like, my God. He's like, I can't believe how hot my junk is getting, right? And so he started getting all irritated, and so he's like, what am I going to do? And so he started like messing around, like cutting socks with like duct tape and trying to like separate everything. And what he realized is that if he separated the Big Al from the twins, that it would actually keep him cooler and he wouldn't get all chafed and crazy. And so,
personally, I think he stole this idea from Raphael.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, hold on. So then he comes back and he manufactures these things. He's also huge in the mixed martial arts community, right? Like a lot of the guys from the MMA love these underwear. But the thing that you're going to notice when you put them on, not only are they crazy comfortable, because it sounds weird on paper, right? You're like, how does this even work? You try it. Look in the mirror when you got them on. They make you look gigantic. So I don't know if that was a intended or unintended consequence, but they make you look super manly.
Aaron, I can just imagine Aaron standing in front of the mirror, just looking at himself, shaking those hips.
Exactly.
I had Robert on my podcast as well. So if you guys ever want to hear his story from
how's your podcast coming along?
To what?
How's your podcast coming along?
It's good. It's good. I've had some good guests. That's what makes it, right, Aaron?
That's right. I just interviewed Noah.
Kagan.
Nope.
Yeah, Noah Kagan.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Dude, he's a ball of energy. He's kind of like you. He's like a high energy guy.
He is. He's amazing. Do the rest of you guys, have you ever heard of Noah Kagan?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Check
Yeah.
I haven't.
He's got this one cool thing for you guys out there that are entrepreneurs. It's called the Coffee Challenge, and I don't know if he stole it from somebody, but being an entrepreneur or whatever you're into, it's scary, right? And so one of the things that he recommends is working this like fear muscle, and so what he tells people to do is when next time you go out to like get a cup of coffee or whatever it could be, ask for 10% off. Just ask. Now you might not get it, you probably won't, but the truth is that it's that little bit of fear of asking that if you work it enough, you're going to get better at it. And so anyway, he's a neat dude.
Cool. You see, the legends unite. What are? Let me see.
So did you ask him for 10% off her?
Yeah, that night he actually is doing a compilation of like people doing it, and I said, hey, I'm going out for sushi, and he goes, dude, ask it. And so I filmed myself asking the guy that I always go to his restaurant. I go, hey Nick, can I have 10% off? He goes, sure. I said, okay. So that was that.
But I mean, let's just face it, Aaron. I mean, you're the guy that shows up when they weren't doing well at that restaurant. You're like, hey, I'm going to take $1,000 gift certificate. So those guys love you. And and for them to be able to give you 10% off, they're like, of course, like you're our best customer.
That's not my cat wants in. I got to let Piglet in.
Oh, you need to bring Piglet on the show. So what's going on, Jeff? How you been, man?
So I'm going to answer the question. I think someone asked the question about how to do sponsorships with integrity. And this is a question that I wrestled with as my channel began to grow and I started getting sponsorships. So it was a bit of trial and error in the beginning, but there's a few things I do first. And this is a little inside baseball for some of the viewers. 99% of the sponsorships I do, the sponsors contact me first. So they'll say, hey, Jeff, I have this watch. Can you show it on your channel? So the first thing I always do is send me the product first. Before we go any further, send me the product. Once they send me the product, I test it out. If I like it, then the discussion begins, then and only then. And then when I tell the brands all the time, okay, I like the product, and then once we agree on the price, now let me sit back and figure out a video that I believe the watch will fit into organically, will make sense, and it doesn't make for a poor viewing experience for the viewer. So if I'm going to do a sponsorship with this watch, it's going to be a watch topic video. It's going to be an accessory video so that the watch is organically related to the video topic. If I'm talking about the best sneakers for fall 2020, I'm not going to have a watch sponsorship. So what I found when I organically bring the sponsor in and it's related to the topic I'm talking about, the audience has very little resistance to the sponsorship. In fact, they say, hey, I'm glad you got a sponsorship. I was looking at that watch. They're already there for watch information. So if I naturally incorporate a watch that I've already tested out that I like and organically related to the topic, I get very little resistance from my viewers when it comes to sponsorship. So that's the simple way I go about it.
Watching for watches.
Raphael just goes out and buys 20 blazer jackets so that he can review them.
Yeah, I mean, we all do different things, right? And I also get the guys, there are people who kind of like, hey, I want a sponsor that's totally unrelated, right? And I put it at the end of the video. I just watched a video of a cocktail guy making clear ice, and he just slapped a totally unrelated sponsor at the end. And I thought, oh, I get that. He gets some money, right? People know I stopped watching now, and the world is good. Personally, we did some sponsorships early on, and it wasn't why I started. And, I get it. There are many ways to Rome. We all do things differently. We just decided that it wasn't for us. And so we just don't do it. And then we can do that because we have our own brand and we have some advertising revenue. And that's just, retargeting. And otherwise, if you're a creator and you just have to rely on what YouTube pays you, you can't make it. I think up to this day, we would be in the red. So people have to understand that in order to make a living as a content creator, it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, you got to find a way. Now we're getting questions. Got a question about Beer Biceps. I don't know about you guys. I follow his channel. I love what Beer Biceps is doing. Any of you guys follow him? Check him out. Know who he is?
Yep.
No, I'm out of the loop. I need to watch more YouTube.
Yeah.
I've heard of him, but I don't think I've watched any content. But the alliterative name stuck out to me. So it was easy.
Copy Biceps.
I know we've got people from all over the world watching us. So I know all my Indian friends out there. You were just on. Whose interview were you on, Aaron, the other day?
I was on a Beer Biceps interview. We did an interview together where he's a really, really interesting guy. He's doing some amazing stuff, really trying to help guys feel great about themselves.
Yeah, love it. He's got a good podcast as well. We are getting a few other questions in there. I'm zipping through. I don't know if you guys can see. We're getting lots of salutes for Jeff. Jeff, where did that come from? The whole salute thing.
Dude, everyone loves Jeff.
I tell you, it was very organic. So when I started the channel and I started getting a lot of growth, one of the things I've always tried to do, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I always try to treat my employees well and my customers well. And a lot of people don't know this. I'll say it on this video because it's going to be taken down because I usually don't say what I do for a living. But I'm a chiropractor. So as a chiropractor, I'm different than other doctors where I see the patient 20, 30, 40 times. So we develop a rapport. And so with that rapport, I make sure I thank the patient for coming and choosing me. You could have chosen anyone else. So I use that same mind frame. So one day I was doing a video and I said, how can I thank the people that are continuously watching and continue to comment? I want to let them know that I appreciate them. And I said, you know what, maybe I should just salute everybody, pick a person, salute them in the beginning of the video, and then let them know how much I appreciate them because I was having such good growth in the beginning, but I saw a lot of the same people commenting over and over. So the people in the beginning really helped build the channel. They helped build my confidence. They helped make me feel comfortable, made me feel like I was doing the right thing. So it was just a simple thing. I said, you know what? Let's just use John Smith. Well, John Smith, he's commenting a lot. I'm just going to say a salute to John Smith. And to me, a salute is just a sign of respect you give another gentleman. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know, that would be a great way to thank a returning friend. And also, there was a small bit of business in it. So there's a lot of people who wait for their salute. So I said, hey, I get to thank people, but people will continue to tune in because they're going to wait for this salute. And I actually tell people, hey, you're on my salute list. These are real people. So I don't make up the names. I go through the comment section. I have a salute list of about, I'd say, 3,700
give
people.
One to Michelle right here because she's asking for it. Michelle McClone. Jeff, do you ever salute your baby fans?
I got you. I got you. Stay tuned. Michelle McClone.
You're on the salute list. On there.
You're one of 3,700. Watch out.
Yeah, 3,701.
So Raphael, we're getting questions about your fountain pen videos. You started using them again. Where do you come up? Like, Raphael, I think one of the more interesting things about your story was when you told me you were going back to the stacks of like old German and like all these old magazines. And you were like, yeah, no one's reading these things from the 1920s. And I'm like, well, no shit, Sherlock. You know, it's like, who else is going to, but you actually went and grabbed all this stuff and you started bringing it back. Can you talk about like some of these like topics that you've gotten into and the research that you guys do?
Well, you know, with fountain pens actually had nothing to do with that. It just started with, that's how it all started, right? It's just right now.
Antonio, you have no idea what you're talking about.
That's what I love hearing.
You write with fountain pens in school. But yeah, the research, you know, that's how I got into clothing. And then I read the Gentleman book from Bernhard Rötzl, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And then I found an older book from
give us a little bit more German. That's just like so cool.
From Baron von Elking, Das Lexikon der Herrenmode. And then I was like, wow, this is a lot better than the new stuff, right? But no one talked about the old stuff. And then I was like, well, what other old stuff is out there? And I'd go like to libraries, you know, and costume and fashion libraries, and bring my camera and stand there and photograph for 2 weeks, and just got a lot of material. And then at home, you know, would go through it and learn about it, and was like, wow, this is super interesting. And even to this day, sometimes, right, you're like, wow, we live in a house, and the architect who built the house was a content creator. He had a content magazine in the 1900s, and he made like $2 million a year. A smart guy. And you read some of those stories, and they go through and talk about, oh, you know, the architectural influences, and you can see right now we're at the point politically where, you know, people are very divided, and sometimes it's anti-immigration. And then you go back 120 years, and you're like, wow, people were really open-minded to architecture, to other people, to influences. And it's nice to see that it wasn't that way, and a little sad to see that it has changed. So I get a lot of inspiration from older things.
Yeah, I always look at it like a pendulum. Like we're going to swing back into that other direction. Like I look at human history, and I love, you know, what is it? The 50th Law by with 50 Cent and I forgot the other author, Brian Greene. It just amazing. Talks about human
Robert
nature.
Greene.
Robert Greene. Yep. And that whole about human nature. And does, amazing read if you haven't had the chance to get through it. Aaron, we got a good question right here. And I know me and you talk about this. How do you deal with some of these people attacking you? And they're like, hey, Aaron is full of shit, or he shouldn't be doing a video on this. Like, how do you deal with that?
How do you deal with it? That's a really good question. I haven't figured out the best way, I don't think. I think the way that I have chosen to handle it after some failed attempts is just to kind of realize that it will pass. We kind of live in this really toxic. What are you showing me, Antonio?
I'm saying that you call me like.
Oh, we live in a pretty toxic environment on YouTube and just in the world in terms of hate and sort of trash talking sells. And so that's one of the things that you have to realize, that people are going to talk about you, and for me it never gets easy, but my choice is just to kind of ignore it as opposed to talking about it, because you're not going to be able to satisfy a lot of people. Can you hear my lawn mowing going on?
No,
not really.
No? Okay, good.
I thought that was Frank snoring.
Yeah, no, but yeah, criticism's never fun, regardless of who it's from or how well intended. But it's really about identifying whether or not it's constructive or it's just trash. And if it's constructive and you can learn from it, great. If it's trash, try to forget about it and move on.
I know we all screw up sometimes, right? And I always find we talked about failure earlier. I learned a lot more from failure than from success. So it's good.
Yeah, that's how we learn the pain.
The key is learning from someone else's failure. Once you do that, then you're on like a good trajectory.
So we're getting some questions about like fragrances, and I know right now I'm wearing Black Phantom by Killian. Absolutely love it. But I know that we got some fragrance guys here. Actually, Eric, over you've got what, 4 now, 5 fragrances?
We got 3 fragrances: Old Money, Temple Smoke, and 4 Vices. I'm wearing.
And what I liked about yours is you didn't look to because the thing with YouTubers is if it doesn't fill the room with one spray, it's a failure. And if it's somehow, and you actually made stuff that sits close to the body and smells like marijuana, right?
Well, the way we look at it, a lot of our audience and our customers are dudes who work. In the office environment. So when you're now in COVID, no one's working next to anyone, but when you're typically right next to someone, you don't want to blow them out with your fragrance. So our fragrances were really designed to be personal for you and for those who are close to you, rather than for the whole office or the whole room or the whole neighborhood. So you can get some really nice, pretty dope fragrances that you don't have to worry about, gassing out the room.
Yeah. And by the way, apparently the only real dude here is AlphaM, and the rest of us have big egos.
I do have a big ego. I'll agree with that.
I agree. I'm huge.
That's why
I have
a smaller car.
I've said that many times.
It's only me and my ego can fit in it.
That's why I try to zoom in on my head so big, so everyone knew how big my head was.
So, hey, Wolfgang's got a question here. What does OG mean?
So let me break that down for you. So OG is a term that's been around for a long time, and it had, I'd say probably from the 70s and 80s, it had more of a little bit of a negative connotation. And it had to do with the guy who had experience and sway in the neighborhood, but from a negative perspective, original gangster. So a guy, but as it became more used in popular culture, it became someone with experience in any field, who has some experience, some wisdom he wants to share, and then someone who's older than you that has some wisdom and some advice he wants to share with you in a particular field. So when I was coming up with the name for the channel, I struggled with some names at first, and they really didn't fit. So then I sat back, I said, what do I want to be and who do I want to portray to the audience? So I'm an older guy. I have some style and men's lifestyle experience. So I wanted to be the guy who was a little bit older than you, but still dressed well. Maybe your cool uncle who could give you some advice. And an OG is someone who does that in any particular field. You can be an OG teacher. You can be an OG cheerleader. You can be an OG anything. It's whatever someone who's an older guy, a little bit more experienced than you, that wants to share this experience with you. So that's what it means.
we're getting a couple of interesting questions. So I'm going to hit on the controversial ones. Apparently, do you ever salute your homosexual fans? I like how he's.
Well, for me, I don't ask your sexual preference, so I'm sure I've saluted many homosexual fans. I probably saluted a lot of trans fans and cisgendered fans, but I specifically.
You don't have like a resume application.
I think that's a layered question, so I'll go to the second layer
I agree.
that I know he's really asking. So the question I get a lot of times on my dating videos is, why are you always talking about men and what they need to do with women? What about guys and how they date guys? And this is my response. My response is, I'm an OG. I share with you my experience, my point of view. If I was to speak on men dating men, I'm ill-informed. I don't have the information. A wise man knows that he's foolish. A foolish man knows that he's wise. I'm not going to speak on a topic that I don't have information about. That would be unfair to you, and I would come off inauthentic, and it would come off as pandering. So I don't pander to anyone. I don't talk about women's fashion either, because I don't have the experience or the information. So I think it would be a disservice to my homosexual fans to give homosexual dating advice when I don't have the knowledge to share with you. It's that simple. If I had the information or the experience, I would share it with you.
It's never too late.
We are getting some questions about Eric's beard or the lack of. Let's hear what's up with, you used to have a yeard. In fact, there was a beard called the Bandaholz.
Yeah.
Apparently, like, you're not wearing a Bandaholz anymore.
No. I got the beard stash going on now, which is like a stubble, a little bit of stubble, very intentional. And then the chevron mustache, you guys know the art of manliness. He's rocked one of the most epic mustaches.
Yeah.
And the mullet. And I know Aaron's done a video saying never grow a mullet, so I grew one.
I said a lot of things that I forget those. I said a lot of things that.
But you know, like over at BeardBrand Alliance, we support the guy growing the style that he wants, whether it's short beard, long beard, no beard. You know, it's all about kind of finding your own style and using you know, what you learn to apply to your own kind of like growth pattern. So trying to embrace who you are as an individual rather than trying to disguise or change attributes about yourself. So yeah, but I can talk about beards all day. I mean, we got like 1,200 videos on them, so it's.
Raphael, have you ever grown a beard?
Never to the extent that Eric has. My wife is a big opponent of beards, so that has something to do with it. Where the plan was.
I got a video on that, Raphael.
I know. I've seen it, but we've actually planned to film it and then just take it off in stages. But in Germany, for like the mullet with a mustache, we call it Fukuhila Oliba. It's a distinct term. It means short in the front, Fukuhila, vorne kurz, hinten lang. Yeah, short in the front, long in the back, with a beard above the lips, and they just like abbreviate the words. And
dude, I was meant to be in Germany right now.
Exactly, you could make a video about that. Fukuhila Oliba.
So we're just getting so many good questions. I keep throwing these in there, but do you guys ever get jealous of other fashion-based YouTubers? And I admit that I do sometimes. Like I try not to. Aaron knows this. Like I try to be even-keeled, but sometimes you see, and it's not even just fashion. See somebody that you see explode, and you're like, after having made like 1,500 videos, it is something that you feel sometimes that your best videos don't get any views. Your worst, like ones that you didn't expect to do pretty well, but then your channel goes through this. But I agree that sometimes I feel jealous, but I find that it's a trap to try to avoid. Simply, I got to do my thing. I don't know. Any of you guys ever feel that way, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of like inspiration for me. I'd like to see other people who have done it to be able to try to not mimic them, but try to learn from them and try to achieve what they have achieved. So it's like a little bit of desire for me to try to build it. And then like, I agree with you, man. Like our big channel's in a lull right now. So it's always I mean, to me, it's the journey of like fighting through those lulls and those downtimes and trying to figure out how to like re-energize your channel and reconnect with your community and your audience and create content that's really bringing value to people's lives. So it's hard. Yeah, I wish it was easy. I wish we could just like film me like going to the bathroom or something and make millions of views, but the world doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, that feeling, right, of we all have feelings and emotions, and that's a good thing. It's an initial reaction, oftentimes a gut reaction, and sometimes the brain kicks in, and you watch something, maybe doing a reaction video, and it's super popular, right? I'm thinking maybe of Penguins, right? He sits there in his chair. It looks like maybe a college bro apartment, but once you look at the view numbers, you realize this guy is making maybe 7 million a year just of YouTube earnings, and I bet he doesn't live where he actually shows he is, right? And just you're like, wow, with reaction videos, right, where you just react to other people's creative thoughts, you get all of this attention. But there's a skill in that too, right? It's very easy to think, wow, they're just lucky, or they are not as good as me, and they don't know what they're talking about. And I think that's what comes out a lot in when people say, oh, they shouldn't be doing videos because they're not at my level, right? It comes from a very kind of narrow point of view where you kind of block yourself from learning what got people there. And I always find it just interesting to see, hey, wow, there's all these things you can do, right? The other day, someone subscribed to our channel, and I clicked it. Badlands Chucks. It's a guy who just chucks large quantities of sodas, right? And it was like, wow, I did not comprehend that could be a channel that has over 2 million viewers, right? But it's my own ignorance. And so I like to see different people and what they do. And it rarely feels jealous anymore, because I've been through that process so many times that I'm like, yep, that's what they do. That's amazing.
Aaron,
what I try to keep in mind is that a lot of us, and not just in our niche, we compare ourselves to these outliers. These people that have 10 million subscribers and millions of views. But for me, it's I wouldn't call it jealousy. Sometimes I'm puzzled, like, okay, why is this person here? But I think sometimes what you have to do is remind yourself that if you have more than 1,000 subscribers, you have a channel that's bigger than 85% of people. And I try to always remain cognizant of some of the statistics. For example, only 10% of people will have a channel with more than 10,000 subscribers. It takes the average YouTuber 4 years to get 1,000 subscribers. So think of all the channels that don't have a sliver of the success that you may have at this point. So I think it behooves you not to compare yourself to the biggest. Be on your own journey and take inspiration, learn something from what they're doing that you might not be doing, that you have the ability to replicate. I'm a firm believer in modeling. I have, make no bones about it, when I first started, I watched Aaron and Antonio, and I took pieces from them that I thought would work for me. So, for example, Antonio, with his military background, and I have an academic background, so I resonate with people that are very to the point, that are structured. I would say Antonio had a professorial demeanor, so that connected with me. Then with Aaron had a more outgoing personality, was something I struggle with. I'm more of a quiet, reserved person. So I said, hey, I need to turn up my volume a little bit. I won't be Aaron, I won't be Antonio, but I can model some of the things that I can use from them. So it's not jealousy, it's inspiration, because I see that they've achieved something I may want to achieve, and then I can model some of my behavior until I was able to find my own voice eventually. Now, if you watch some of my old videos, they're not really my personality, but I had to figure out how to show my true personality on film, and that takes hundreds of videos. So it's okay to look at people and model some of their behavior to get more and more to your personality. And I would say now, after 3.5 years, I'm probably 70% Jeff on camera. I still have 30% more to figure out how to communicate me more authentically. So I look at it as modeling behavior and using other people as inspiration.
Raphael, we're getting a request. What are you wearing?
Ready for the no pants look?
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
No, it's like a TV jacket. It's like a corduroy, and then just like pants.
Does Fort Belvedere have a jacket like that?
No, not yet. And the reason is, it's always live and learn, right? And I know now that I've neglected the operations side of our business for a long time. Right, there's this huge imbalance where we have a lot of people on the content side and not so many on the operations side. It's outsourced and stuff like that. So we're going to change that and then hire more people on that side so we can actually launch more products faster. But that's something it took me like 3 years to admit and realize. And we always have these times where we look back and are like, duh, should have done this years ago, right? It's a process. And like Eric said, once you can see the patterns in others and realize what they made wrong, then you grow a lot faster.
Now, people are asking, why is Aaron so quiet? This is
weird.
I know. What do you want? I did see a question about my glasses for you watching. GlassesUSA.com. Use the code AlphaM.
That's right.
That's how they do sponsorships.
Yeah.
No, we've been getting some good questions. Somebody asked where they can buy my charisma, and I sell it on my website for $97. So if you are interested in Antonia's charisma, just go to realmenrealstyle.com. And guys, don't forget, this is sponsored by Sheath Underwear. 12 hours only, 50% off. Use code StyleLive. I already saw a couple of you guys in the comments saying that you took advantage of the deal. Do it. It's not going to, this video is going to come down. We're having too much fun. We're getting out of control. Raphael is going to be doing a dance for us here in a few minutes. But, yes.
Your balls will thank you.
Oh, I forgot. I'm wearing a denim shirt from Eton and a pocket square from Fort Belvedere.
So this is a great question.
Tall. That was a really good question.
Yeah. How do I get tall? How do you get tall? That's a good question. So, I don't know. I'm still waiting for that video so I can actually implement it. Eric is the guy that everybody needs to ask how to get tall. Eric, how do you do it?
Oh, that's a good one though. What do you all hate about each other? We should answer that one.
Oh, I hated Aaron initially just simply because I was like, this guy didn't know jack shit. As I'm watching you grow on YouTube, and I remember seeing you at 1 million views and then 2 million, 3 million. And my wife basically said, well, because I was writing at The Art of Manliness, all these style articles, and I had my own blog. And I mean, apparently you would even ask me to borrow, to steal some of my stuff. I'm like, no, you can't steal my content.
I wasn't steal, I said use.
Yeah. And so actually that frustration of seeing you do this stuff on YouTube, when I felt I knew more about suits, at least, I'm like, so it got me to go up and do it. So I don't think I ever hated Jeff. I always liked Jeff. Raphael, I always thought were a little bit you came off as snooty and better. That was just, initially. But then I got to know you and I realized he really is an asshole. I like this guy. He's legit. I can go out with him, but he'll be like my asshole that I can hang out with, and I can just laugh as he makes fun of people. And then
that's the danger of judging people. And I have a quick story about Raphael. Before, I watched a lot of Raphael's content, but I did not realize that when we met, we would click immediately. As soon as I met Raphael, people may know we had kind of a men's camp together. And as soon as we met, we had very similar kind of cynical, sarcastic sense of humor, the way we look at things. So I think sometimes when you look at someone from afar, they may be different and you may have a lot more in common than you think. So me and Raphael hit it off within 5 minutes of meeting each other. So
we shared a bunk bed together.
I was on the top, he was on the bottom. That's my homosexual content. But you have to kind of give people a chance with preconceived notions. Preconceived notions will get you in trouble. But as far as hating, that's just not my natural disposition to give much energy to a person I don't know. It's just not my personality. I'm someone who finds inspiration, as I'll keep repeating, from other people's successes. If I see somebody with a nice car, that means I can get that nice car one day if I do what they did. So hating is just not it's never been my personality.
So would you give that as your advice to young people? We're getting the request hey, a lot of young people watching. I think that's solid wisdom right there. Don't, get overly jealous. Just say, hey, that's achievable for me.
Yeah, well, my best advice for younger guys is some of it's practical and very traditional, and there's maybe some tough love. I'm going to go on these young guys today. I think the average American is lazy. And I stole this from another content creator, Kevin Samuels. If you're a single guy, there's no reason you shouldn't be working 60 hours a week if you don't, or you're not making as much money as you think you should. There's no excuse for you not to have a full-time job and a part-time job. I think that through having different jobs, different experiences, making as much money as possible, learning, working in different industries, work hard. Like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be people that's taller, faster, stronger, but we all get the same 24 hours. Outwork the other guy, and you'll get a lot of results. And your journey is going to be different. But if you have someone that you look up to and you admire, and I'll quote another great American philosopher, Sean Carter, Jay-Z. He said, and he probably stole this from somebody. They asked him, well, Jay-Z, I want to be like you and have what you have. He said, you only see the end result. Don't emulate my result, emulate the process. So find out how that person got there, emulate the process. Don't worry about the results. The results will come as a result of the process. So get another job.
Yeah.
Well, and also realize that.
I'll add on to that. Like, I think I want to go so far as calling everyone lazy. I think there's impatience is something that a lot of guys struggle with. They just want success now as quickly as possible, and they're not willing to, like what we talk about earlier, be resilient. And it's not so much like outworking. It's being having conviction with your vision long enough to see it through. So not giving up, to persevere. And if you can start to learn how to suffer for a longer period of time, I think you're going to end up having more success through that suffering.
Let me just add something real quick there. One of the reasons why, and I say this to Antonio all the time, I'm not that smart. Like, just getting it out there.
He does every single day. He is telling me this.
I'm not that smart, but what I have the ability to do is work hard and stay focused when things aren't exciting and fun and sexy, right? I think that, it's great when you're getting a lot of, accolades and you're getting a lot of, likes on Facebook or whatever, and you're seeing the results and you're making money. Like, that's fantastic. And that's sort of it's all like extrinsic, like motivation, but it's about, sort of the journey and really tapping into the internal reason of why you're doing what you're doing and continuing just to stay focused on that and having the ability to work hard and not get discouraged when things aren't, sexy or amazing, or you're not getting rewarded for it. I think that's one of my superpowers.
Now, we're saying that Vince is saying that he kind of disagrees with OG's statement. He prefers people get a side gig rather than a part-time job. And I think he's focused on semantics because a lot of us...
You're a semantics guy. That's the same thing, my brother. A side gig and a part-time job. What's the difference?
Now, Raphael...
Get a side gig. You're right.
Yeah. Now, Raphael, you were doing a lot at one time. I mean, not many people know that you actually have a law degree and that you went to law school. And you saw other opportunities and you made a big career switch.
I didn't even know that. You're going to be a lawyer?
Yeah. I actually went from I thought I could be a pilot, for Lufthansa in Germany, and I did all their testing and stuff. And then I failed in one of their tests. And then I was like, well, law school sounds exciting. And then I went there, and then I realized, accounting for every 6 minutes of my day, that's not for me, right? And there's other successful lawyers out there, and it works for them, and you can copy someone else's process, but going back to yourself and understanding what it is that makes you happy, right? I realized I would be a deeply unhappy person if I continued with that. So I never worked as a lawyer other than internships. But then I came to the US and I just couldn't work because I didn't have a permit. And I was like, well, I have time, I can't work. Let's do something I enjoy, which was classic man style, which was my hobby. And then I just did that. So I was lucky in the sense that I did not have the opportunity to take maybe a job that paid me well, that didn't really fulfill me, because I may have taken it and then increased my standard of living and then just felt like, oh, if I quit this now to do something I like, I have to step down. And I see a lot of people, even old lawyer friends, get into that habit of, oh, I'm making $100,000 now. If I would actually become a writer, which is what I really want to do, I wouldn't get that. So they just keep doing what they don't like.
You know, a segue into it. You know what I think would be kind of fun if all the commenters guessed what our ages were, all 5 of us.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
You know, I feel like our style kind of like indicates like our age, and I feel like some of you guys are going to be like way off base with how old.
Yeah, let's see.
The funny thing is to find out if I'm going to answer. I'll put it out there right now. I'm the oldest on the panel.
There you
You're
go.
cheating, Jeff.
That just screwed everything up, Jeff.
Yeah. I am the oldest.
All right, throw Jeff out.
Who is the youngest? I'm pretty sure it's Raphael.
Raphael's the youngest.
Yeah, I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
So are we just all now telling our age?
Well, I guess don't answer at all.
36.
Alpha is 24. There we go.
That's right. Correct.
You
nailed it. 24.
A and A, your mid 40s.
He's been around for like 15 years, and he started when he was.
We're getting 40, 35, 40, 35, 40. That's a nice set of numbers there. It's like a lottery like number that won't ever win.
55, 57. That's perfect. Yes.
Is everyone like? Is this panel the same for everyone? Is it always Antonio, me, Aaron?
No,
Jeff?
It's not. That's going to be the fun part. So we can mix this whole thing up. So Jeff is 53. Alpha is 44. Alpha is 43. Raphael. You know, these comments keep moving so fast. I click on the wrong ones. Man, we got a lot in there. Raphael is 45. Aaron is 25. And
You guys are close.
Close.
Yeah. So I
saw a question earlier from Janora Gamble. She asked how many pair of chinos I have. So there's a running joke that I'm the king of chinos. And the funny thing is, and this is why you have to still be constantly learning and evolving your style. I wear chinos all the time, but I didn't start wearing them until about 5 years ago. I was a jeans guy or a trousers guy, period, one or the other. And I just started wearing chinos, and now I wear them more than anything. So your style can always evolve. But chinos are, especially since now, you know, the last few years, I think dress code has become more people dress more casually. Chinos give you the ability to kind of straddle that fence where you're a little dressier, but you're not feeling stuffy. So chinos, love them. Wear them all the time.
How many?
Hey, there's a good question here. How have you guys adapted to life in the last 6 months with everything going on? I know, Aaron, you changed up your schedule, and you used to have, I mean, anyone that knows Aaron knows you are a creature of habit. And you changed up your schedule a lot. And you actually found, I remember you were calling me by 4 p.m. You're like, what do I do with all this extra time? Like, can you talk about like how things changed for you?
Yeah. You know, I thought that it changed a lot because I wasn't going to Starbucks first thing in the morning. You know, it didn't change that much. My routine is a big part of my day. And so, you know, the things that I love doing in terms of like, you know, going out and exercising after I work a little bit, you know, instead of going to Starbucks, I'll go to my office now or just stay home and work. Yeah, but I have more time because I wasn't going to the gym. I didn't realize, but I was going to the gym at least once a day, sometimes twice. And so, you know, just that, like the transition or how long it takes to get there, work out, come home. I mean, I think I gained like 2 hours in my day. Now I still work out, you know, at home, but yeah, that was a big adjustment for me. Just that was the biggest adjustment, honestly. Starbucks was an adjustment, but not that bad. I probably will never go back to Starbucks.
Eric, you've got a team. How did you guys adjust?
Yeah, we send our team to work remote, and they've got the option to come into the office if they want. So we have a couple of single people who would probably, you know, like blow their brains out if they were just left alone all the time. So we allow people to come into the office. We're a little more laid back, and we tell them like the office doesn't require masks. So if you're okay with that kind of risk, you can come in. But if you want to, you know, be away from that, For me personally, the hard part was I couldn't row anymore, which is my favorite pastime from a exercise standpoint. So I ended up building a gym in my garage, which, you know, because everything was sold out, took a while. But finally been working with Reynolds, Matt Reynolds, doing some barbell logic online coaching, and getting a little bit stronger, hopefully, and hopefully I don't get injured.
So we've got a question. So Raphael, apparently you were born in 1910. That's why you love the 1920s and 30s style. So have any of us thought about publishing a book? Mitchell Gooseland, that's a good question. I know I've got 4 books out there. You've got, what's that one? The Book of Reminders. Oh, I love it. What is that book, Eric?
So we put this in with orders. These are the different reminders, if you can read them. But it's 9 different reminders that I kind of like tell myself as I face adversity, just to give you perspective on the world and like how to face things. Just kind of mindfulness type of stuff. But yeah, so you've got ebooks though.
Yeah, that's ebooks. I've thought about some. I've actually got over here all the style books. People ask me like, what are the style books that I've got? Like literally probably like 70 books over here. Then I think will make the most boring video ever, but people keep asking for it, so I got to put it out. I mean, how do I title that? Like, you know, the 67 style books that every man needs to read. I guess I could. That's SEO optimized, but I don't know. I don't have the desire to. It's a lot of work. Let's just face it. I mean, to write and put out a good book. I don't know. Jeff, you thought about putting out a book or anything?
Jeff,
actually, this is breaking news. I'm actually working on a book, but it's going to be a coffee table book. It's going to be I have some working titles, but let's just, as a placeholder, it'll be like the StyleOG's Guide to Men's Lifestyle, something along those lines. But I'm going to put a lot of my best information on style, grooming, dating, but it's going to be a coffee table style book. So it's going to take some while to put together. I want it to be very photogenic, very visually pleasing, something you actually have on your coffee table. So it's going to take me another good 9 to 12 months, but it's something I've been working on. So you're going to have a coffee table book coming to you soon.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's a book that acts like a coffee table.
Exactly.
What about you, Raphael? You got anything coming?
Well, you know, I always look at it like people write books for different reasons, right? Some people just want to be published and recognized for it. Some people enjoy the process. Some people use it as a business card. I'm not driven by just, you know, like having a book to my name doesn't do anything to me, doesn't make me happier. It's certainly not a good way to make money in my mind. It can be like a door opener or a business card in a way. It's just, there's been many times when there was the option to do it, and every time I just said, no, let's focus on something else because resources are limited. So not high on my priority list.
Yeah.
My wife, on the other hand, wants to write a book, right? It's important to her.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, different people have different things that drive.
Yeah. And speaking of books, like Hugo Jacomet, he's got some pretty good ones over at Sartorial Talks. I've met up with Hugo when I was in Paris a couple years ago. Him and Sonia, really nice. They're actually from Atlanta. So Aaron, if you ever get the chance, but he's really easy to spot with that long silver hair. Yeah, he's got some very nice coffee table books. Now we're getting
great content on his channel. I'm a subscriber to his channel. Great.
So
content.
This keeps popping up. So I would say I haven't made a video on this, but I think others have. Thoughts on NoFap? Let's go, Aaron. What do you got? Give me 10 tips.
Why me?
Because they're quiet. That's why.
Hey, if that helps you, that helps you. I think that I don't really understand. I don't think there's anything wrong with masturbation.
Just rub it out, man.
I had to Google it.
I think.
Like, why do that to yourself?
What'd you say?
I don't know. Just like I don't know. Like I mean, I guess if you're like jerking it like 10 times a day, then
yeah, if it's interfering,
like get it under control. But there ain't no shame in rubbing.
Stay away from extremes. For me, NoFap. I think you'll spend more time thinking about not masturbating.
Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. and then move on with your day.
Actually, I think you'll waste more time not fapping. Rub that bad boy. And here's a
that should be a meme.
You make some of your worst decisions when you're horny or frustrated back up. If you're about to make a poor decision, masturbate, think about it for a second, you probably won't want to do it anymore. So masturbate. You're supposed to.
That's why we have phones.
So can money solve the world's problems? What do you guys think?
Wait. I wanted to say something about the last one. I remember the last influential guy came to me and it was like, I stopped masturbating and my life got like 100 times better. And I think a lot of people associate, masturbation with negative impacts in their life. And I was like, well, I masturbated and I became a millionaire, right? Keep in mind that correlation is not causation. Right? They're not connected, right? So don't feel bad about it.
Do you masturbate?
I masturbated and became a millionaire. Put that as a quote.
I get it. I went to Catholic school. Masturbation was forbidden. So I get some of the hang-ups.
Yeah, you go blind. Yeah, it's like...
Okay,
so is money going to solve the world's problems? What do you guys think?
No, but it'll solve mine.
Get a boat. All right.
No.
I believe that there are money problems and there are personal problems, and you're going to have a lot of both in your life. But if you can, at an early stage, help to keep down some of those money problems, then you can focus more on the personal problems. Because we know some very wealthy people that still have a lot of problems, but most of them seem to be not that they can't afford. They're making a decision. Can I afford to take my kid to the doctor? That's not their problem. It's, hey, my kid, the problem I have is maybe I didn't spend enough time with him and he's been using drugs. I mean, I'm not saying that you want either of those problems, but it seems like I see a lot of just being able to make that divide. And so I know for me, I try to have enough money that I just don't have as many money problems as I did when I was growing up without it.
Money is a tool.
Money is just
certain problems, but I like to use the soap opera analogy. So if you were someone who ever watched soap operas and you notice that the people in the soap operas were rich, but they had a lot of relationship problems and emotional problems, not having money issues enabled them to concentrate on the other problems. If they had just as many problems, they just didn't have money problems. So money is a tool that solves survival, it solves certain problems, but it's not going to make you. I know a lot of rich people that are very unhappy. I know there's a guy, I live in the city, so one block is gentrified, the next one it's ran down. I know guys on the street that I talk to, I give them $1 every day, are happier than me, and they have nothing. So it's a great tool to have. In America, you need money in a capitalistic society to survive and to have some form of a nice life. But it's just a tool. And one more I'll give. My mom is someone who taught me that. My mom's always had a great, happy disposition. I'm from North Philly, and if anyone doesn't know that, that's a very poor section of Philadelphia. And as my mom's a chiropractor as well, she became more and more successful. And I was in undergrad when my mom started making a lot of money. And every time I would come home, she would have more stuff. But I realized my mom wasn't any more happy. She just had less financial problems. So what I learned from her is that money doesn't make you happy. It removes some stress. I was like, and then when my mom's business went down, she still was happy. She's just a happy person. Money just took care of some financial issues. So if you're someone who doesn't have money, I would never tell you money won't make you more happy. It will reduce stress. It will solve problems, but it'll only amplify the person you already are.
For me, the point when I felt like money solved my problems was when I had $5,000 in the bank. That was like, for me, that was my like, fuck you money. And the reason was because, for my entire life, grew up, food stamps, welfare, I remember this time very specifically, when I was about 14 years old, I went to my mom and I said, hey, I want to go get a piece of pizza down the street with my buddy, Nikki. Do you have $1.25? And we didn't have an extra $1.25 for me to go and get a pizza. I started working, maybe I was 13 at that point, but I started working from a very young age. But my entire life was all focused around making ends meet and how I was going to make money. And it occupied so much of my brain. And with that stress and that worry, when I had $5,000 in the bank, one day I didn't think about money. I didn't worry about money. And I was like, well, at the end of the day, I was like, I didn't worry about how I was going to pay my mortgage, or not my mortgage, but my rent. And the next day, same thing happened. And it was at that point I realized that's it. Like, that was, for me, that solved my problem. And so all the brain power that I was using worrying about money, it was allowed to be more creative and allowed me to focus on the things that I wanted to focus on. And it ultimately made me happier. And so for me, it was $5,000.
It's a bit like your Starbucks moment, right? Where once you can actually focus on all that stuff because you don't have that anymore, like you don't think about coffee, or like it's incredible.
Yeah, no, that was the most liberating thing. So I think my advice to people is figure out a way to make enough money that you don't have to stress about money. And once that happens, all the other stuff, stuff has never been something that I have that's never been my goal. My goal is never to have a nice car or a nice house. It was always just to feel fulfilled. And when you have enough money to take care of yourself, it allows you to sort of strive for that fulfillment. At least it did for me.
Yeah, and a lot of, to add on what Aaron said, a lot of times it's not figuring out how to make more money. It's figuring out how to control your spending, because a lot of times you guys are already making plenty of money. It's just you get too impulsive with how you're spending that money. So if you can focus on saving, I mean, I've always been like cash flow positive since I was making $12 an hour, living on my own, working out of a Dell call center, so money management is a very important skill to have and to develop. And there's plenty of resources out there. And of course, we don't talk about it on BeardBrand, but if you can tackle that at a young age, it's going to set you up for a good life.
Yeah.
And I always give this cliche, and everybody watching right now, you can give yourself a raise today. Easiest way to get a raise is to cut your expenses.
Yeah, we're probably all frugal guys here. That's probably another thing that links us all together.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like
that's true.
Offense and defense with football. Like everyone.
Antonio, tell your story about your truck. This is Antonio's big claim.
I've had the same truck for 23 years. And I mean, I can go buy, like we just had a friend over and she has all these money problems. And what did she do? She's bought a new car in the last year. She's bought a new house, just bought a new house. And I'm here thinking, I'm happy that you have these things, but I'm just worried. Do you not have money put away? And you got to have, I have multiple funds. People were asking me, I saw the question about like 20 different revenue streams. Not all of them are, in fact, probably 14 of those right now aren't bringing in a whole lot of money, but they're still little revenue streams. I just got a check from Amazon for $51 from the EU because we flipped on allowing our Amazon ads and it built it up. It's like I get all these little checks every single month. Yeah, this money just coming in. And I mean, Aaron, you're so happy for Pete and Pedro and for, for Enemy, for all these companies that you've started up on the side that bring in this revenue that if your channel was gone, Aaron, you'd be able to say, you know what? Okay, I can, look at that. You need a little bit, those are nice sunglasses, right?
I know. These are some of my favorite sunglasses I got.
Yeah. But
take the most bathroom breaks.
So we're getting some questions for Raphael. I did see one, Raphael, about Vicuna. It was like, can we talk? Max is asking about Vicuna. Do you think it's overpriced or overrated?
Yes, it is.
There you go, Max. You've got your answer.
I don't even know what this is. What is this?
What's a Vicuna?
It's a type of.
It's an animal. It's like a very specialized mountain goat that lives in the highlands of Peru, and it has a very fine underhair, so it's softer than cashmere. And Loro Piana, makes it into a fabric. It's extremely expensive, right? So you could have an overcoat that costs you $20,000 or $30,000, and so I know people are like, "Wow, that's the most expensive thing," right? People have this propensity to say, "Oh, maybe I pinstripe it with diamonds and my name woven into it." It's that kind of, I want the best of the best, the pinnacle kind of thing. But just like often, you pay a lot for this pinnacle status, and I don't think it's worth it. No.
I want my off the rack suit to have a better fit in the shoulders and the sleeves, Raphael. What should I tell the tailor?
It's too long for here. Just check out the video.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. So, hey,
start lifting weights and get those shoulders.
And the easiest answer to that one that most guys will tell you this: if it doesn't fit in the shoulders, don't buy it in the first place. That's the off the rack. The first thing you want to make sure that fits is the shoulders, because that's the most difficult for the tailor to fix. Almost anything else can be fixed. So if it doesn't fit in the shoulders, it's the wrong size.
Yeah. And by the way, Indochino, I go to their store, by the way, that one's popping up. I know not everyone, it's like, I don't know. I've been to their store in Atlanta. I got very happy with what I got, but understand that, if you're buying a $400, $500 suit and you have $5,000 suit Savile Row expectations, you're going to be disappointed. I mean, there's a lot, you're paying for multiple fittings, when you go and you get something, that's bespoke made. I mean, 3 fittings for a first suit with a company is not uncommon. So I think that's always a big thing. Is a lot of people have, and this is with life in general, they've got these crazy expectations that have been built up, and they think, by 25 years old, they're going to be able to have all this, when really you've got to put in the time and you got to put in the effort. One of the things you guys have been asking, like, where are some of the other influencers in this meetup today? I kept it to actually a little bit more of, I think, guys with a little bit of gray hair, except maybe you, Raphael. But, for us that have lived, I remember, Jeff, with you, one thing I immediately liked is you had a life before YouTube. You had this other thing, and YouTube, that's how I think a lot of us keep YouTube pretty straight, is that this is the 4th career that we've had. And it's actually, to me, the least, it's fun, but it's the least serious. As a Marine officer, I had to make decisions. I had to deal with death. We had to deal with just really high stress situations. And for all this, it's just it's just clothing. It's just men's style. This is kind of, it is what it is. And, setting your expectations straight, I think, especially if you've got low expectations, I was talking about my truck, 23 years old. I live in a house that's 110 years old and cost $100,000, which isn't a whole lot here in the United States. And I'm happy with that. It's of course I want, maybe more, but I'm not going to overextend myself for it.
What was there a question?
No, I'm just talking. I'm just going on.
For the record, I love Indochino. The first suit I got from Indochino was one that I measured myself, and I got it, and it was kind of a disaster, right? I think measuring a lot of these measuring for a suit, that you're going to have made, it's really, I don't think anybody's perfected that in terms of the model of made to measure, suits that you take the measurements and do it online. But when I went into the actual Indochino showroom and had them do fitting and my suit, literally, it turned out perfect. No alterations needed. And I think for the price, you really can't get a better, custom suit. I mean, it is custom when you go there.
And yes, we do watch Hugo Jacquement from our sartorial talks. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Oscar de la Renta, amazing genius. Any of these guys like Tom Ford and, doing this stuff, just they blow me away. We're also getting serious, very interesting. How to avoid looking at boobs. Raphael, how do you avoid it?
You just look at other people's eyes. I mean, how do you avoid it? I mean, yeah, it's when I are at this level. You can.
Do you have a German saying that pops out every time that way? And they don't know what you're talking about, whoosh, wash, wash.
Yeah, it's sie hat viel Holz vor der Hütte. She has a lot of wood in front of her hut.
Oh my goodness! All right. So what else is going out there? Got to let it. What about? Let me see.
I saw a question that I guess all of us could answer. What was our motivation for starting your channels in the beginning?
Yeah, here it is, right here. What made you get into YouTube and men's style? Aaron,
I'll go. Yeah, I'd started after my fitness center failed, I started an image consulting business, and my wife gave me a video camera in 2000, and I think it was 2007. And I thought she wanted to get freaky. It was not the case. And so she so this video camera sat in this box. I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? I'm not the most tech savvy person. And when I started my image consulting, I actually was on a reality show called Glam God with Vivica Fox. It was okay. So it was a VH1 reality show. VH1 reality shows are bad. This was bad for VH1 reality shows. I was kicked off first out of 12 people, right? And so I got kicked off. I'm like, fuck. And so what am I going to do? I'm like, screw this. I'm going to start making videos and posting them on YouTube. And to this point, I'd only been on YouTube like 3 times. And so I went to J.C. Penney's and I bought all these like jackets, and I had a big Windsor knot, and I stood there and I filmed myself because I thought that at that point to have style, you needed a sport coat and a big Windsor knot. And so I decided to post a video just talking about, hey, I'm Aaron Marino, AlphaM Image Consulting, and I didn't know what to expect. This was back in 2008, and what happened? The next, I got a comment. Some guy asked me, hey, what should I wear? I'm a bigger dude, and it was at that moment that it was like I found where I needed to be. I think my whole life I've been searching for validation and acceptance. And so this was the first time I felt like my voice was being heard and people actually appreciated what I was saying. And I was hooked. And so that's how I got started.
Is that video still up, or did you remove it?
No, unfortunately it's not. I took a lot of my earlier ones down because I was embarrassed. I know. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about this, man, I wish my earlier videos were still up, and I just kept them. But, I had gone through this, when I started YouTube, I didn't know what YouTube really was. It wasn't about like making money. It was just about trying to get people to watch your videos. And so I went through a few different phases of who I was. I was trying to figure out what my voice was. Like you were saying, Jeff, you're at 70% trying to get to 100%. Well, I saw all these people talking about things that were outlandish or being very crude. And so I thought that's what I needed to do in order to be popular. And so I'm embarrassed of some of the earlier videos that I did. And so I would say things that are just not, I don't believe. And so I took them down. And it was as soon as I sort of got honest and open and just let people sort of know me, that's when everything got better for me and things started to actually take off for YouTube.
Can you talk about the religion that you're starting?
Yeah.
You get questions about your church.
My church. I can't talk about my church yet.
Oh, you can't.
Yes, there is the church of the
Church of Alpha.
The Church of the Bueno Hair.
Yes. I mean, that's really where it's all, because everyone was asking what's the future of YouTube. And I'm saying cults and harems. That's the future I see with YouTube. It's like.
Talk more about you guys with how'd you start YouTube?
I still got my first video up. So if you sort BeardBrand by oldest to newest, you can kind of see. BeardBrand, the goal for me wasn't to be a YouTuber. It was to help men. Really it was in the early days is to change the way society views bearded guys, because back in 2011, when I grew my beard out, you were either a lumberjack or an outdoorsman or a hippie or a musician if you had a beard. And those are all cool guys. Like I have no problem with those styles, but it wasn't something that I resonated with or connected with. And I just wanted to show there's other kinds of bearded guys out there. Like you can be an ordinary dude, a stay-at-home dad, an entrepreneur, a doctor, a lawyer, and have facial hair. It's just silly to think like you can only be completely shaven or clean shaven and be in these types of roles.
Please don't use the word clean shaven. I like completely
right?
shaven. Yeah.
Completely shaven, yeah. To imply that you're dirty if you have a beard.
Exactly. I never even thought about that till I watched your channel. On my
I mean, to be fair, like clean is like a type of cut, so it's just kind of like a little bit of a fun jab that we like to say.
Want to use
But,
clean
yeah,
up.
so I mean, we just wanted to connect with those type of guys who are maybe struggling with their wife saying they didn't like their facial hair, like Raphael, or like people who have bosses that told them to shave, or moms that didn't want to see their little boy grow up. So we just kind of wanted to give them all the ammo they needed, the tools, the confidence. So YouTube was just one of those channels for us.
What about you, Jeff?
Well, for me, it was a couple of things. So in my chiropractic practice, one of my private had several locations, but my main location was close to the neighborhood I grew up in. So there's a lot of guys who reminded me of a younger me who would come into the office, and even if they weren't patients, they would ask me questions. And I'm someone who's always dressed up just because I like to dress up. So a lot of guys would ask me about style, and they would ask me life advice as well. And that's something that's happened to me majority of my life. So YouTube, I saw a way of opportunity to share some of my experience, wisdom, and information with guys like me. I grew up without a father. I have a great stepfather, but he didn't come into my life till I was a teenager. So love him to death, but I didn't have a lot of the things I had to learn. I had to learn by trial and error. And I made a lot of mistakes as a young man because I didn't know how to be a man. So some of the simple advice that I give, if I had received it at 16, 18, 20, I would have made a lot of better decisions. So with a lot of guys not growing up with a male figure in their life, I said, what is a way that I could give this information to a larger group of young men and have a positive impact on them? And I saw YouTube as a way to do that. I use style as a carrot to get people in, but I also try to give some life advice and some words of wisdom I wish I had at the age of the gentlemen that are watching my channel.
Raphael, you had a blog for a long time before you started anything on YouTube, right?
Yeah, actually, it started with fountain pens, right? I accidentally bought a fountain pen, then got cufflinks, got into clothes that way, and then started the Gentleman's Gazette as a blog because it was my hobby, and then it turned into this, this thing that I would do. That I didn't intend it to be that way. It was really more a way to use my time productively in a way that I would like it. And then I filmed some videos early on, but I felt like that the quality didn't live up to the standard I wanted to have. And so I stopped, right? I think early in 2010, we did some videos, like more like outfit videos. And I felt like, no, I can't do it right. So I'm not going to do it. And then we didn't started filming again until 2015 when we felt like we could produce the quality we want. Looking back at my first videos now, I'm like, it's cringing here. The sound is bad. I haven't found my voice yet, just like everyone else. And that was a big mistake. If I had just started in 2010 and kept filming videos and not be so arrogant and think, oh, it's not up to my standards, like I remember Aaron's first videos. He was just standing, in his bedroom with his laptop sometimes, and was crooked and all, right? But he just filmed, and the only way to get better is by doing it. And if you kind of, just push it away and say tomorrow, it's different.
You want to hear something else that's crazy? Back when I started, like those bedroom videos, I was drunk in all of them. That's something. Oh yeah, I had like.
You don't drink anymore though, do you?
Not really. Well, I have wine, like I have wine or a bourbon, once or twice a week now. But I mean, with COVID, I think we all need to drink. but no, when I started, like in that, like right next to me, there was like a credenza, and my routine was Friday. That's when I would film my videos. I'd get a 6-pack of beer. I'd set it right next to me, and I'd just film my video, and I'd be wasted by the end of it. And I definitely was struggling at that point, dealing with some inner demons, I guess, and was using alcohol as like a self-medicating like crutch or whatever. But yeah, a lot of those earlier videos, I was drunk.
A lot of people think I'm drunk or high or something on my video, because I'll get goofy every once in a while. But the only time I'll be under the influence is like if you can see the beer. Like I'll show off the beer I'll be drinking with a friend or whatever. But yeah, I never perform inebriated. I may be tired and I may have like bloodshot eyes or something like that. But and then for the dude who's asking, BeardBrand. BeardBrand is my channel, BeardBrand Alliance too.
And you always have this kind of thing where you try to crack a joke that's a little more unusual.
Yeah, I got some really bad jokes.
So let's take it a little bit serious. Let's talk about like what's going on with all these protests out there. I know, Raphael, you're in Minneapolis,
yes,
where a lot of things started. You're down in Austin, Eric, where there was a shooting a while back. Atlanta. Have you moved down to Atlanta, Jeff, or are you still up in Philly?
I'm in Philly.
Okay, and I'm in small town, America, where I have to admit, like, not much has changed. I've got people around me that, everywhere I'm surrounded by, there's Trump signs, and a lot of people still think that the whole thing is a hoax. But I'd love to hear from your guys' perspective, because you're in the cities, and I think you're seeing a lot more of everything going on.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of try to the best of my abilities. I try to stay out of politics because I feel like I don't have control over it, and what I prefer to do is kind of be in tune with what's going on and react to it. So like if rules change or presidents change or policies change, then find the way to be efficient or effective or happy in those type of environments, rather than trying to like let politics consume me, which I think happens to so many people. They just get so wrapped into it. And there's certainly things that America needs to improve upon. But I'm not, like I focus on myself, I focus on my family, I focus on my business, and I think having an impact on that is going to be more beneficial for society than trying to influence politics. But it's a touchy subject.
Well, I learned this from my mentor from afar, Aaron at AlphaM. I try not to speak on politics, religion, and race on the channel. There's no upside to it, but what I will say is this. Being someone who grew up in 80s, 70s, 90s, my concern is, and not taking a stance, any position here, although I do have stances, but I won't mention them here. My concern is that in our current climate, to even hear the other side out, you're a traitor to your side. And that's my concern. I always use the Tip O'Neill, Ronald Reagan example. Reagan was a Republican president. Tip O'Neill, I believe, was the Speaker of the House. He was a Democrat. But they were able to compromise. And when they compromised, they neither lost any political capital with their group. And my concern now is that the inability of people to empathize, listen to the other side, and being a compromiser is looked at as being a traitor. So that's my biggest concern at this time, is that we don't listen to one another. And if you do deign to say the other side may have a point, your side will get rid of you. So that's my biggest concern, no matter what side you are. The ability to listen to the other person's point and to acknowledge they may have a point, you're not even allowed to do that. So that's my biggest concern, without even mentioning what stance I have.
Cool. There was a question that kept popping up, guys. Where do we see ourselves in 10 years? Raphael, you're one of the better planners, I think, in this group. Well, not to put anything down with Aaron, but he only looks at tomorrow. And Eric, like maybe next week. But Raphael, you're part of the entrepreneurs organization there in the Midwest. You also you invest a lot in your education. I think the first time we actually met in person was at a conference. Maybe it was like Icon or something down in Phoenix.
Infusionsoft conference.
Yes, Icon.
What I wanted to say about the previous question though was in Minneapolis. I not having grown up here, I've been here like 11 years now. There's certain things I didn't, learn, and I took this as an opportunity to say, hey, if I look around me, right, that there is a problem of racism in America, and so I read books, right? I educated myself. I was like, hey, white fragility, how to be an anti-racist, and what can I do in my company with my actions to, improve the situation. Not pointing the fingers at others and saying, you do this, you do that, but more like, how am I racist, right? And it's a loaded question in the US. People like to talk about racism as this abstract thing, but when it's about how am I racist, right? And what does it mean? People are like, well, that's not how I intended it. That's not how I meant it. But that's the problem, right? We all have to look inward and look at ourselves and see how we're contributing to the problem. Planning, where do I see myself in 10 years? Yeah, it's hard to tell, right? I'd love to continue to grow this business and offer everything around the gentleman lifestyle. Whether that's a Chesterfield sofa or a cool bar cart or a full-fledged clothing line, right? That's something that I would like. But more than that, I would love to create a community for like-minded people where, let's say, we have real life events, and or maybe on Nile cruise, right? All in black tie, or we have these kind of real life events and interactions where there's a reason to dress up and you learn how to shine your shoes and you learn how a whiskey is made and or a shirt is made, and maybe you start making your own watch. Like that's ultimately where I would think, wow, that's a really cool thing that I could achieve.
Well, one really lightweight thing you can achieve is answering this question, asking Scheider, what do you think of Red Reddington's fashion style from the TV series The Blacklist?
I have not seen it, so.
Oh, no opinion. Has anybody seen it? I actually don't know this guy.
Yeah, I think, yeah, he's if for those of you who are old like us, you remember 16 Candles? No, wait, was he? No, this guy, who was he? He was you guys see The Blacklist? 16 Candles. He was the jerk in 16 Candles. Molly Ringwald's. No, okay, anyway.
Just answer the question. What do you think of his style?
Good. I think he's cool, man.
All right, guys, let's go over what are some other questions that popped in. I love that you guys can actually see this. And did you see anything, Eric? You wanted to say something?
Well, I was just going to quick reminder to go get your sheath underwear for 50%.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. 50%.
Robert, we got to help Robert out. He is a really good dude.
He is. And we know him in person because people are asking, like, how do we know each other? How did this come about? It's because we've all hung out, not just. So we used to have Menfluential, our conference, which me and Aaron dodged a bullet, and we knew COVID was coming.
We dodged a big bullet with that.
I actually remember it.
Responsible for like the Kindle towards all of COVID by having it.
That's true. We launched COVID at that conference and just spread it to each other without knowing it. But seriously, remember Aaron and me telling you, like, I think that like something's coming and we should get all these hand sanitizers, and people like, well, that's a fucking waste of money. And like, and of course, like we knew, but I remember telling you, Aaron, like, yeah, you should get some guns and some cash and some money. And I was, here for you guys out there. So to put on that conference, when was it? It was like February 20 something, right? The end of February.
Yep.
And so to put on that conference, it is incredibly expensive. I think it cost us close to $50,000 to put on that conference. And the way we pay for it is through ticket sales and obviously like some sponsorships. Antonio and I made no money doing that conference for like 7 or 8 years, right?
We would just simply let's pay for everybody's meals at breakfast. Yeah. I mean, that was awesome, right? I mean, Eric's down there, Jeff's down there. I mean, all the guys, like, you know, except Raphael, we never we're like hide from Raphael. It's like,
but what happened was, I mean, so we have to pay everything in advance, right? So the space was, $15,000. The caterer, we had to pay for the food trucks in advance. If that conference was canceled, because we would have had to have done the responsible thing. If that conference was a month later, we wouldn't have been able to have it. And the amount of money that we would have lost as a result of that not happening, Antonio and I still think about how we literally by 2 weeks just dodged a huge financial bullet. Everybody did. I mean, because everybody would have had to cancel their plane tickets. I mean, whew. Makes me nervous.
But that conference was what we ran it for the right reasons. I think it was just simply to bring the community together. It was an excuse as a business owner. What I love is I can use my business funds. Like, there's nothing wrong with having fun with what you do. In fact, you probably should. It makes it a lot easier. And we're like, we just need to bring all of our friends together who happen to be in this space, and even some that aren't, and just hire them to be able to do fun stuff, and work at the conference. And it really was just a party that we were able to fund and bring in together hundreds of people that we got to know. Alexander, Sasha Sidorov, he was just here in the comments section. And, it's like, I know these guys. Like, I had a few people, one of the gentlemen, purple suit, people are saying, hey, I met you at Menfluential 4 years ago, purple suit. It's like, yeah, I remember you. And I get letters from the guys, and it's, you built real friendships. And I think as men, we stopped doing that for some reason, maybe out of college. We just don't build as good a networks as we can. And
here's something else I just want to throw out there. When being an entrepreneur, for you guys out there that are thinking about starting your own business, it's a lonely road, especially if you're like a solopreneur or whatever you call it. There's that word, right? Yeah, I mean, it's lonely. And I think that for me, when Antonio reached out to me, so just to go back on a question that was asked, a few hours ago, because this is the epic, and I could not stand Antonio. I saw him coming into YouTube. I'm like, who is this son of a bitch, right? And the first time I saw Eric, it was on Shark Tank, and I'm like, dude, like he was so intimidating to me because of that voice. He was super tall.
Height. Yeah, super
yeah.
tall.
When I met him, I was like, oh, this guy's way too cool for me. Jeff, I thought the same thing. I'm like, this guy is not going to like me. He's way too cool. And then Raphael, I thought you were an asshole. And Antonio's like, no, you gotta just give him.
He is an asshole.
Meet him up in a truck stop.
I love Raphael. He's the greatest, right? And so, but what the hell was I saying? Oh, so being an entrepreneur is a lonely road. And so, when I finally was connected, Antonio connected, he reached out. He was the reason why we have this, what we have. It's because Antonio was a visionary and was not of the mindset of I can't share this or people are going to steal things. It's let's come together as a community and build something amazing. And so I attribute Antonio to, a great deal of my success because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have met all these other inspiring people who inspire me every single day. And the relationships that I have built just with you guys. I mean, I find you guys that I see once a year, I've got a connection with more than I have with people that I see on a daily basis that I'm friends with. And it's because of we get it. We're in that environment. We understand each other, and we've lived the entrepreneurial journey. And so surrounding yourself with people that get it, that are uplifting, that's one of the biggest takeaways I think from this podcast that hopefully you can get is surround yourself with people that are going to help you, uplift you, inspire you, and you are going to live a richer, more fulfilled life. And so that's the thing. I miss you guys. Like I think about that. I miss seeing you guys. Like this whole COVID thing has been such a bitch because
that was why I wanted to do this thing right here. Besides, I had the sponsor Sheath, of course, but point being is I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have fun. And I'm like, let's get together just a few of the guys. We're not going to make this overly big. And we just shoot the shit. That's just hanging out. I remember when we were in Austin, me and you show up, Aaron, to that house that all the guys are at, and there's Jeff, lounging out, Raphael just waking up, when he's walking around in this tidy whities. Eric hadn't shown up yet because he lived there in Austin, and it was fun, except seeing Raphael and that type of.
That was the thing, That was the thing. It was just so incredible to just be around you guys and just we're all at different stages, like in our business and our career, but we all can learn from each other. And so it's just so amazing.
Yeah, but it definitely comes down to Antonio's ability to connect.
I'd add that.
I always found if Antonio, like if you don't like Antonio, like you have a problem.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, every video there are 16 people that always give me the thumbs down. Like you're just always like, are you watching?
Hey, they're your fans too. Your haters are your fans. That's the thing, is they're watching all your videos as well.
Yeah.
One of the things and this was a learning experience for me. The first influential that I came to, and you guys probably don't know this, the inverse of being a so-called cool guy is being an introvert and being a lone wolf and trying to do everything by yourself. And a friend convinced me to go to Influential because being a chiropractor, we don't do a lot of networking. I've never had a corporate job, so I didn't understand the power of networking. Everything was, Jeff, get up, do this. You got to do it yourself, get it done. But not only coming to the first Influential did I come to that I make some great, long-lasting friendships, I learned the power of networking. I learned that you can't do everything by yourself. You can exponentially increase your worth and your reach by connecting with like-minded people, learn from their experiences. And even for the man camp we did in Austin, I had to be convinced to go to that as well. But once I got there, it was so rewarding. So sometimes you have to, come out of your bubble, and some of your stronger personality traits can get in your way. Me being a lone wolf and someone who's very heads down has gotten me a lot of places in life. but I've also missed some opportunities. Being that cool, removed guy, I missed a lot of opportunities in like having that personality, having that demeanor. So meeting people who are more outgoing and more extroverted and willing to share was, even at my advanced age, well, I evolved more as a man just by coming outside of my comfort zone and out of my shell and just entering the room, and being open to people that I don't know. But now and Aaron made a fantastic point. I've probably only seen these guys in person 2 or 3 times ever, but there's a connection, a lifelong connection that was built that I believe will last for a lifetime. So it's just come out of your comfort zone. Lone wolves are rarely as successful as they can be. Networking is such an important part of your development as a human being and as a business person.
Now we're getting some questions about, like, if you're a struggling YouTuber, like how to grow. And I know I saw a lot of YouTubers, smaller ones on here. And I know that my friend Jeff Rose, what he did is he created a Facebook group for finance YouTubers. He did this like 2 years ago. And there was this guy like the Bowtie Finance, who I'd watch his videos. I thought he could improve his production and stuff, but he just kept at it. And he was part of this little group. And I liked that you had this group of like 25 wannabe finance YouTubers. Let's just call them, at the time they were. Now, of those 25, 5 of them have blown up in the last year. And like that Bowtie Finance guy, like he's getting like 100,000 views on his videos in finance, a very profitable space. And that's what, if you want, that's what I did this for, is selfishly, like, I need motivation. Selfishly, I need help. And when you can have on your phone and you can just text people that have, all this great knowledge in their head and they're willing to talk to you. Some people a little bit too much, Mr. Marino, but it's like we can just go back and forth, and it's motivating, and you can't help but be lifted up by these people around you. And so build a network, get on the phone and like listen to people, commiserate together. It's amazing within a year or two of working with someone. And this applies to anything, whether you're in car sales, whether you're coming up with a fragrance company, which I am. And Aaron has been pushing my ass because for years, I told him about it and he's like, oh, and then Aaron just goes out and does things. And then he's like, oh, and so, he goes out and
I figured out, like, that's my thing. I'll just try it. And
yeah, what source happened?
I don't think about things all that well, but yeah. And what's crazy is like the fragrance thing was so nuts because my guy, Mike Levy, he's like, hey, Pete and Pedro, we do like grooming products. He's like, man, you need a cologne. I'm like, nobody will buy my cologne. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, it's like, you got
thousands and thousands of sales later.
Yeah. Oh, my cologne's become my #1 selling product with the best margin.
Three amazing fragrances.
Yeah. Getting ready to drop the 3rd one. Yep.
Oh. So when's that coming?
It's coming in at the end of the month. So yeah, King. Oh. We got Rebel, Hero, and King, and we've got another one in the works too for a limited release. But yeah, I mean, it's
the Rebel and the King will battle it out. There will be blood on the streets.
Then the Hero will come in.
Be like Portland.
The inspiration fragrance for King is Green Irish Tweed. So it's very, very, very sexy fragrance. Very sexy. Oh, sexy.
Jeff, you got any products coming out? You got anything besides the book?
My main focus right now is the book. I also have a product line that I'm working on that I'm going to keep close to the vest for now, but that will be coming. COVID put it on hold a lot, as well as I will be relocating to Atlanta finally, 2nd quarter of next year. My daughter just recently moved there, the first love of my life. So I'll get to spend a lot more time with her. And that's one of my main drivers to move there, is because my daughter and my son-in-law moved there. But also I went to chiropractic school there. So yeah, my friends are there. And so I'm very excited about that. So some of the, the personal things.
I'm here.
And I'm here. And I was getting to, I'm very excited, Aaron, I have a connection. Like I said, I have a connection with Aaron, even though we only met twice, but he's my buddy.
We're from Philly.
That's a huge city, Atlanta.
So and funny thing is, Aaron, my daughter actually just moved to Vining, so she's probably not that far from you.
She's 5 minutes down the road. Yeah, man.
So we'll be seeing a lot of each other. Probably I'm looking at May or June.
Interesting thing about Vining, it has the highest percentage in the country, apparently. Playboy magazine did this, if Playboy's even around, of the highest percentage of single professional like women, like in I mean, it's if you guys, for you single guys out there, come to Atlanta. It's a hotbed for spicy senoritas.
It's a great place. It's a great place. So you know, with the COVID thing, it's going on some personal stuff and professional stuff. We're all trying to figure things out. So I do have a product line that I'll be launching, but COVID has kind of put that in a kind of a purgatory state for now.
I am going to really quick. I want to show you guys something. Aaron's been the only one to see it. So this is my new fragrance line that we're working on. And yeah, honor, courage, and commitment. So
what's
my
it
goal,
motherfucker?
I love it. That's it. Mission Fragrances is the name of the company right now, but I like default to MF because I'm like, you know, I can have fun with this thing. But the idea is, if anybody's familiar with the Marine Corps or the United States Navy, these are the core values: honor, courage, and commitment. And my goal was to create 3 fragrances. And I'm working on the pitch. If anybody watching this video wants to reach out to me and you're a big into marketing and stuff, because I'm working on the story here, but the idea is that you would condition yourself, similar to Pavlov's dogs, the idea that if you feel like to think of something honorable and wear this fragrance, and you do that over a series of times, you associate that smell with, in the same way that we associate smell, like a new car. New car smell. We know what that smells like, and you can condition yourself. And I want to have fragrances that a man can wear and he can feel more courageous. When you got that big presentation, that day you don't want to work out, you spray on your commitment and you remember that you've committed to getting in the best shape of your life so that you're going to be able to look good, you know, when you're out dating, you know, or you're on the beach this summer. You know, honor. The idea, I wanted to create something that's bigger than just the fragrance. And they're going to come this nice gift set. I'm going to have these coins that are going to come with them. And they're going to have like an email sequence that teach you about each of the fragrances and the notes within them. And so by the end of this, you'll know a lot more about fragrances, and they complement each other. Each one's you'll have like a summer fragrance, a winter fragrance, a weekend casual fragrance. But yeah, it's coming. So I just wanted to share.
That's very Antonio. I like, you know, that going deeper a layer and trying to make it part of a system and stuff. That's very much you.
That is so Antonio. He told me that. I said, Antonio, just make it smell fucking awesome. Here's my sales pitch. You want to smell fucking great? Spray this on. That's it.
But with fragrance, one of the determining factors on why people buy it, the story and the marketing and the branding is very important. So I like that it comes off as authentically you. So that's the first impression I get without even smelling it. It doesn't seem off-brand. It seems like Antonio. So that's very important.
Yeah. Well, hey, so let's have fun. I've got some coins out there, and all you guys need to do is guess the correct age of, you know, each of the people here. So you need to put the age in there. I still want to see it, and we'll go through. And I actually don't know everyone's age. So I got a couple coins. I'll be sending these out. Become the man, you know. It's like, I know some of you guys, Aaron, you haven't gotten one. I've held that back from you.
A coin?
Yes, I will give you one probably in person when I come in.
I just got one.
Yeah.
Antonio, I need one for my coin purse.
You should have one, or I think we're sending you one, Eric. You don't worry. It's only Aaron that I'm like not sending it to, because I was gonna send Aaron a book as well, and then I'm like, wait a minute, like that's just not gonna work. Like,
I don't read.
But you do use them. Like, I love how you use them as decorations. Like,
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Speaking of books, Antonio just sent me one yesterday, and a lot of guys I saw a couple of people ask, how do you guys acquire the knowledge and know so much about so many things? Speaking for me personally, I've always been a very voracious reader since I was a kid. and what I found is reading gives you a lot of whether it's nonfiction or fiction, it opens up your imagination. It gives you a very wide knowledge base, almost by osmosis. You'll learn things that you didn't even know you were learning. And I'm able to pull from a wide knowledge base because I've been such a voracious reader. So I encourage guys, read. I don't care what you read, just read. It will affect your life in such a positive way.
Hey, for the coin giveaway, speaking of reading, let's go read. I want you guys to each identify somebody that guessed your age right. And please just, we'll announce it or let me know and I will try to put them up there. And all you guys have to do is reach out to me, Antonio at realmenrealstyle.com. That's Antonio at realmenrealstyle.com. That you can use my email or use my contact form at realmenrealstyle and just simply give us your information. My assistant, Jamie, she'll have access to this video. We'll go through and try to catch, but it's, going to be a little bit informal. And if you're watching the recording of this, you can try to guess it as well. We'll go through and choose a couple people in the comments that leave good comments. That's my whole thing is I just want to, it's fun that Aaron, you can attest this. I mean, all of us can. I get the fan mail, I get the letters and it's just so cool to hear from people who find a video and get inspiration from it to transform their lives. I mean, Aaron, you've had people make like paintings of you, send you busts, but we've also had people like pull us aside. Remember the first Menfluential? You remember that first Menfluential when Austin pulled us aside and told us his story? I've had people tell me that they were thinking of committing suicide and they find a video and it strikes them and they realize that we created this video for them. And we share stories of how, we've dealt with, when I lost my sister to suicide, I've talked about this. And that's, for me, probably the best thing about this whole YouTube journey has been, despite, it's cool. You have success, you get some money. That's nice if you know how to make it. But really having these connections and knowing that there's people out there that have really been able to improve their lives, even if it's just for one day or a small percentage better. But I don't know, Jeff, have you had any of those stories? Like anyone reach out to you?
I've had a ton of them actually. And in the beginning, I got them from the beginning, and they've been extremely rewarding. And you guys can attest to this job. This job can be very isolating. It's very tunnel vision, and it's very difficult, a lot of work. But I get comments and I get emails a lot from guys just thanking me for, I got that job interview, or I was able to talk to this girl I was afraid of, or I was able to do things that I didn't know I could do, or you're the uncle I wish I ever. And then, I'm just talking about chinos or a pair of loafers, but just sharing information, being willing to give advice to other people. You don't know who you're helping. And for the people that ask about, I have a small channel, it's not growing. I always use this analogy. Yes, we all have a lot of subscribers. I have 300,000 subscribers. But when I had 1,000, I thought of it this way. If somebody booked me for a speech and 1,000 people showed up, I would be so nervous. So if 50 people were watching, I would be so nervous and I would be so appreciative that they took their time out to listen. So if you can affect one person, 50, 100,000, you don't know how much it means. So don't get caught up in I'm a small channel, a big channel, or even if you're not a YouTuber, you can affect one person, and it's a very big deal. So the money is great, and I get to talk about style, which is a passion of mine, but helping other men, and like I mentioned earlier, some of the stuff I wish I didn't have to learn by trial and error, simple things that I didn't know. I didn't even know how to tie a tie. I didn't get a job before because I didn't know how to tie a tie. Just simple things that make a difference in people's lives is very rewarding.
Raphael, do you get some of these letters? You get some of these messages?
Oh yeah, you get all kinds of stuff, right? Like it's like letters that are handwritten, or people send you things and share their story. And sometimes you're like, yeah, man, here, I'll send you something, right? Because they're like, hey, I've saved up for this little collar pin or something, right? And you're like, yeah, cool, I'll help you out in a way. So yeah, all the time. Also, like with Preston having a disability, so it's you see how you impact people and what effect that has, and that is cool.
It's really especially rewarding when like the purpose of the content was designed to help people who needed it, like maybe at a deeper level than just like kind of surface, grooming techniques or style techniques, and you get down into like loving the person you are. And I know, Aaron, you talk about that a lot in your videos too. It's just really embracing who you are, and that's where you get your confidence from. So when it finally clicks with some people who have struggled for a period of time, maybe they didn't have the dad growing up, maybe they didn't have good influences in their life, maybe their journey wasn't as good as it could be, and it started turning around. And to me, that's what I get most excited about, more than the paychecks or whatever, the glitz and glam. So yeah, it's fun, man. Keep on sharing that, guys. Share with us when things.
Yeah. I keep.
Yeah, and for me, that part was the reason where I was like, I want to build a real community that goes beyond, the YouTube comment section. I mean, you did it with like Influential, right? Getting people together in person.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to do it even on a smaller scale. So a conversation like this can be had in a small group. When you have 200-300 people, that's difficult, right? If you have 20 people or 10, it's more doable, right? It's like having a dinner party with people and doing that. It's kind of cool.
I want to highlight one of the comments. This is just a straight up thanks for. I know Wolfgang's been really active in the comments. So Wolfgang, you got my age right. I am 44.
Got mine right too. He's on it.
Yeah. Well, Wolfgang is on top of it. So Wolfgang, send me a message, and I owe you a coin. So, but you got to email me, and we'll just make sure it's you and stuff, and we'll get that out to you anywhere in the world. And has anybody else seen anyone in the comments that they want to send a coin to?
Well, I want to do a shout out for Greg. Greg's one of our longtime fans. Greg Tuberville. I always pronounce his last name.
I'm looking for Greg right now. Where is he at? Greg, jump in there and say hi. We want to give you a.
He missed me by a year, but to be fair, I just had a birthday like a month ago, so he was pretty damn close.
All right, so Greg, just Antonio at RomanRealStyle.com, or use my contact form. That's usually the best way. It goes to me, my assistant's assistant, and it gets.
There's somebody. Hold on. There's somebody who got my name. A lot of people have mine. Prerana Solanka. I don't know how to.
Yeah, that one just came in.
Yeah. Boom.
All right. Boom. There you go. There we go. And Raphael, you and Jeff can choose somebody. Just let me know.
I'll choose somebody. Nobody has gotten mine on the nose yet.
Ooh, wow.
BGD.
B.
Capital B, capital G, capital D.
I've seen this person. Yeah. They got you, Raphael?
Yeah.
Okay. So
BGD. Guys, nobody has gotten mine exactly on the nose.
I'm looking for BGD right now. I think I did see BGD did a good job. They put in a whole bunch of people's, and they got mine too. So no, Antonio, they got Aaron though.
Kenneth also got it right. I think he got yours too, Antonio.
Yeah.
We're gonna give it to BGD's closest. I'm actually 50 on the nose.
5-0.
Wow, 50.
50. BGD was close.
So, Raphael, question of the day. What do you wear when you're alone?
Nothing, man. Whitey tighties.
It depends. So when I'm alone, and I work out on the Peloton.
Wait, hold on. I think I know a quote for Raphael, something along the lines of, "I masturbate and I'm a millionaire." So
we need to get T-shirts made.
Let's.
Raphael needs a T-shirt. We need a T-shirt for Raphael.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said to that guy, right? When he told me that he masturbated and his life got better, it was like, correlation is not causation. I masturbated and I'm a millionaire, so it's like, I don't know. Yeah, pointless.
I'm not sure I want to take this channel in this direction here, where you got. Yeah, this is what is going on with this.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're coming up to the last 5 minutes of today's show. It's more just like watching a bunch of guys just catch up and hang out. Is there any questions that we missed that you really wanted to address, Eric? I know you look like you were about to jump on something. me see.
No, I mean, I just like telling inappropriate jokes. So if that's not the direction you want to go, then I'll
Well, go for it. You want?
Well, you guys, I mean, speaking of the topic of the day, in college, I entered a masturbation contest. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
Did not know that.
Yeah. I didn't win, unfortunately.
Was this filmed?
But
And you can find on some of the prominent sites out there.
Well, no, it was not filmed, and I did not win, but I held my own.
I don't even know. I didn't even know this was a thing. But yeah, I would think that this would be in Raphael's domain because I just have this idea of all these German like kink freaks having this like crazy stuff.
Wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, let's not go there. Let's answer the question. What do I wear at home?
Sheath underwear.
Sheath underwear. Guys, don't forget, this is only good for 12 hours. This video will come down because we just had a little bit too much fun on this one. We don't want you guys, using this on other things. We had some, But let me think. What do you got planned the rest of the day? Raphael, what are you doing?
I say hi to my family, and then we're probably going to go for a bike ride. Maybe bake something. During COVID, we've baked a lot. I used to cook. I enjoy food, so I cook, but I haven't never really baked much. Now I bake with my wife and the kid, scooping the flour and stuff. So we'll do that.
Yeah. And speaking of, what's the things that really count in life? And sounds like you've got it lined up. Just being able to do what you want. That's one thing I like about you, Raphael. Is like you're like, I want to do it or not. You're very direct, very straight, which just simply part of your personality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Antonio always comes to me. He's like, "Hey, what do you really think about this?" Because he doesn't.
I never ask you that.
I'm just like cater to him and say,
"What do you think?" Because you will always tell me what you really think.
Exactly.
There is no pretension about trying to be nice. It's like, no, that sucks. Like that is ugly. Like that will not succeed. Thanks, Raphael.
So much about surround yourself with people that inspire and uplift you.
Exactly.
You want to get people around you who don't have a filter too. Like you want to get the real truth, not a bunch of yes men and sunshine pumpers.
What about you? Eric? What are you doing the rest of the day?
I got a family as well. I got a little 6-month-old child. So
what's their name? Do they have a name yet, or
I call him Klaus.
Klaus, yes,
my grandfather.
Yes,
and
Klaus the Destroyer.
His first name though is Henrik Klaus. So good, kind of Germanic, Scandinavian name, and
not kind of full on. Henrik Klaus Bandholz.
Yeah, man. So if we ever move to Europe, he'll fit right in. But, normally I row. Or work out, but now that I showered, I'll probably just take a nap or something. That'll be the highlight of my day.
And sleep. What is up, OG? So what are you doing the rest of the day, Jeff?
Well, immediately after this, I have to film a video sponsored by T. Hanley.
Oh, which we did get a request, Aaron. Can you do a really quick pitch for Tish? No?
I literally have to film. I'm literally in my studio now about to film a video sponsored by Tish Hanley.
Yeah. I wanted to do some, before I started my own company, Vitaman, I wanted to do some experimental videos for Tish. I had this idea that it would be like, you can put Tish on anything and it would magically fix it. This video never got approved by Tish because, Tish just, Aaron thought it was too weird, but
Antonio has, he goes weird quick.
I do go weird quick.
You go weird quick.
Yeah. Yep. Real Men, Real Freaky. That is coming to YouTube someday.
That's the biggest surprise. You want me to tell what I really thought of you when I first met you, Antonio? I pictured Antonio. So the first time I met Antonio was at VidCon in person when we were doing the first Menfluential conference afterwards. And so this whole time I thought Antonio was the biggest, most boring, straight-laced person ever, right? He stood there, he had his hands, and then when I met him, he was this guy, he's a perv.
Yeah, Antonio's totally inappropriate.
Hey,
Don't-
I like to get freaky. That's how you stay married for 20 years.
That's
man.
how.
Just-
So we came up with an auxiliary channel that day. It was, instead of RMRS, it's Real Men, Real Freaky. That's going to be his fallback when when things don't go.
yeah. Hey, I've been happily married to the same woman because you just got to keep it interesting, man. It's like, yeah.
RMBDS.
Yes.
All right, people.
Hey, Aaron, thanks for
Hey.
being here. Eric,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Jeff, thank you.
Shout
Raphael.
out
You,
Black Light
it was
Newt.
fun.
Thanks
you.
for
Nice.
inviting me. Had
Enjoy
a
your
great
weekend,
time.
everyone.
Hope you guys enjoy your coffee.
All right, guys,
I'm
take
so
care.
wired.
Have a great
All right,
coffee.
later, guys.
All right,
Later.
guys.
Bye.
Salute.
Bye-bye.
Boom. That's it.
Now it's just our head. Are we still live?
I know we may be. Yeah. What's up, OG?
Little bonus content.
Nah, this StreamYard thing, man, I love it. It makes it really, really easy because what's cool is Jamie was here, my assistant, and she could keep the stream running even if I were to drop off. So that's one thing I really like about it. And I love being able, the comments are what makes this thing great because people see themselves, like their comments popping up, and they engage with it. And it can connect not only to whatchamacallit, it can engage with Facebook, but also it can end or connect with YouTube, or it connects with Facebook, YouTube. You can set multiple ones, but yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, we're still live, dude.
Go film my
Could be.
family video.
I gotta do this. This is fun. I gotta
I'm
do
out.
it for my. I gotta do this, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Bye. See ya. I think it's still maybe it's not letting me end.
We
On
just
my
give
side.
them bonus content. All the
Yeah.
people stick around.
People love it, right? Right? You guys enjoy it. You guys
Right.
want to see? Yeah.
Peace.
I am trying to end this thing. Is it going to end? Oh my goodness. Jamie, you may have to, let me see if we're still live.